Nelly, obviously, you guys have 13 games remaining, and you're focused on game to game. But with the spot that your team's in now, all the bracketologists have you guys like on the bubble. Do you think the fact that you have 3 guards who made it to the tournament and the way they made it was like by reaching it on the bubble or having to win the conference like you did at Colgate? Do you think that experience helps you guys in the current situation that you're in?
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to help us for sure. I think we're all focused on every single game and every opportunity because, like you said, I've come from a conference where I had to win it. So, like, we're not going to take any opportunity lightly. We're going to make sure we bring our A game every single time we step on the court.
Now, you guys are one of just a handful of teams in the ACC that have a winning record on the road in conference play. What's so difficult about playing on the road, and why do you think you guys have been so successful?
Yeah, I think the challenge on the road is really, a lot of teams have a home court advantage. But for us, we like to just really just go in there and focus really a lot. Like, I think we up our focus a lot on the road because we know the challenge that we're up for.
Nelly, you're the guy who sees a lot, like sees the whole court and has to keep track of things. What have you seen some of the younger guys like Fetty, Nate, and the twins do that help kind of put everything together and be puzzle pieces for you guys?
Yeah, I think something I see is that if you walk out of this building or out of this thing right now, they're out there getting work in. So they work out really hard every single day, and I think when you do that type of stuff consistently, it's going to show on the court.
Are they kind of showing like where, because there's energy that you can bring, but energy that's pointed in the right direction? Have you seen them kind of find those right spots to be that energetic force?
Yeah, I think so. I think last game Nate had like a really energetic block, and G had a good offensive rebound, and then we ended up converting and got some points off of it. So I think they're just finding their niche and really just bringing whatever the team needs.
Nelly, after what happened Wednesday against Duke in that second half, you were able to come back for a win on Saturday in pretty convincing fashion, all things considered. How impressed were you with just how the team was able to kind of forget about Wednesday, so to speak, and learn from it, and then go back and get a double-digit win on Saturday?
I think we've been doing that all season, so I think we started off 1-3, and we had to kind of regroup then. So we've been continuously regrouping every single time we get hit. So that's something that's really like great about this team, that when we get hit, we're not gonna lay down. We're gonna get right back up and fight again.
Go ahead,
Why
Jeff.
do the guards complement each other so well, do you think? Why?
I think we complement each other really well just because we're all in it for the right reasons. We all want to win. So when you all want to win and all your energy is pointed in the right direction, we find ways to make sure we complement each other.
Compared to yourself and JB, what does Nike bring to that backcourt?
Nike brings, like he always says it, he puts the battery in our backs, man. He puts the battery in his own back. Like Nike's always ready to play. He's the type of guy that you need on your team because anytime things go wrong, you can always turn to him. He's going to be there with full energy, ready to go.
When did you find out about him telling your coach to keep Greg in the starting lineup in the second half?
I didn't even know anything about it, to be honest.
What's your reaction when you hear something like that?
Nike's the type of guy that I would expect like something like that from him because he's all about winning. He's all about the right stuff. So to see him do that and just to hear the stories, it's a great story. But I expect that at Nike.
Guys like us worry about bracketology, even though it's only January. I was wondering, in the locker room, do you guys say it? Do you talk about it?
No, we really don't. We really try to stay focused on our next opportunity. We can't take anything for granted. We don't want to look too far ahead, too far behind. We're going to just stay in the present moment.
You share a backcourt with 2 guards who are 6'4" and JB and Nike. When they're playing the way they are, does it make it easier or more? Does it create more matchup switches that you guys won't want to look for that give you advantages in certain games?
Yeah, I think just when those guys are going, it's hard for other teams to contain us because we have a lot of options. Like, we're not a team where you can just scout one guy and say, oh, you stop this guy, you're going to beat them. So we have a lot of different options, and every single game is a different guy that can go out there and do it like Nike did last game.
Do you work in practices and figure like, hey, I do this well. If this guy does this well, if I do this off of that, this team is going to be very confused?
Yeah, I think every game is different. It presents different challenges. So game to game, we kind of adjust to it. But for the most part, we're always focused on just doing everything. Like every single player doing a little bit of everything.
Matt, is he allowed to answer questions about his brother because he's a potential recruit? Or is that coaches are only allowed to not answer those?
Let's avoid him.
Okay. Sorry, can't ask you a question about your brother.
How is your brother, by the way?
Jerry can ask it. Nelly, when you have a guy like Nate Santos coming off the bench, and what he's kind of able to do with his size, he's able to kind of stretch the floor in a couple different ways. What is the top dynamic you feel that he brings when he comes in off the bench?
I think Nate brings a lot of things. One, he really can shoot the ball at a high level. He brings great energy, and he just wants to win. So I think when you're consumed with winning, there's something you can bring every single game. Just you don't know what it's going to be. Like, it can be a dunk, it may be a block, it may be a steal, but when you're consumed with winning like Nate is, you're going to make the plays.
Earlier, coach talked about the development of the Twins and how, they're still freshmen, they're still kind of getting their feet wet with American style of basketball. How have you noticed those two grow throughout the year?
Man, I noticed so much growth through those guys, man. I think both of them have been in unique situations. Like Jorge played a lot in the early VCU game. I remember him having like a really big game, and G wasn't playing a lot then. And then now things have kind of turned a little bit. So like I'm just so proud of those guys for sticking through it because freshman year is challenging. Like everybody has a challenge, not everybody, but a lot of guys have challenging freshman year. So I'm glad that those two are just sticking through it and really just continuing to grow every single game, every single practice.
Nelly, you don't ever want to assume a big victory against any opponent, but when you look at where Louisville's at, do you look at this upcoming game as an opportunity to possibly get more minutes for guys like Nate and the Twins who can develop their game against an ACC opponent?
We don't think of it like that, but I mean, we really just want to focus on that win. We don't want to think of it any what situation they're in. We have to approach that game like Pitt has to get better. So whatever it takes for us to win that game, and whatever opportunity arises, is gonna happen.
After you got, how soon after you got here and started practicing with these guys this summer or whenever it was, when did you notice that this team was going to be a contender or a force in the ACC?
To be honest with you, man, the day I stepped on campus, like that was my goal the whole time. I never once had any type of wavering belief or anything. I always believed fully that we could turn this whole program around. So that was my plan, and that was my belief, and that's gonna be the same way.
What triggered that belief?
Honestly, I remember the good days here. So remembering what it could be and what it used to be, I knew that we could bring that back. So I just thought I believed in the coaches, I believed in the staff, I believed in everybody here.
Has it started to set in yet? I mean, you're the starting point guard on a team that, for Pitt, where people are showing up to this place again for games. I mean, people are talking about your matchups on the road against Duke. You're in the national spotlight again, and you're playing a big reason in that. Has that set in with you at all, or are you just too locked in to really even notice it?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm too locked in, man. Like Blake said in one interview, like whatever people thought about us before, we want people to continue to think that. Like we're so locked in and focused on getting better every single day. Like we don't even see that really.
Do you think you'll be able to appreciate it when it's over?
When it's over, maybe.
There's a lot of talk over the last couple of games has been about rebounding and kind of crashing the glass and maybe even the guards coming to help the forwards with that. What do guys like yourself and Greg have to do to give some assistance to those forwards?
Yeah, I think we really, like you just said, we have to go down there and crash and help. We got a gang rebound. It can't be just on Federico or just on Blake. This has to be a team effort, and we all have to treat rebounding as what it is. Like it's been a weakness for us, so we got to address that, and we got to go out there and grab all the loose basketballs we can.
The second half has been a time where you guys either kind of really take control of your game or come back and kind of secure wins. What happens at halftime that helps you guys kind of either overcome some struggles in the first half or really short things up?
Yeah, I think we have a veteran group that we always regroup at halftime. Like we use that as a chance to really talk things over, analyze the game. We don't like go in there and argue and like do any bickering. We always trying to focus on what we can do to win the game. So JB always says something at halftime where nobody remembers the score at halftime. People remember the outcome, so this is our time to go. So I think our veteran group allows us to really just regroup every single halftime.
What kind of a leader is JB for you guys?
He's a really good leader, man. Like I said, like he has a lot of like quotes and a lot of words and stuff that stick with us when we go back out there. Like nobody remembers score at halftime. Like that's something huge for all of us that we all we rally around that. So JB's a great leader for us for sure.
So if he's got the quotes, why do they call you the voice?
Greg just called me that, man. Greg's crazy.
Do you feel like JB can sometimes be like the most serious one in the room at times, or is that role kind of like pass around just based on the situation?
Yeah, I think it's passed around a little bit. Like all of us are really serious guys. We all are we're just consuming winning, man. So like, if it's JB's time to be that serious guy, then that's his time. If it's my time to be that, if it's Blake's time, like we just all consume and winning. So like, we don't really think of it like that. It's whatever the moment calls for, really.
What's it been like for you guys from the first time we got together in the summertime to now? When did you first realize this team could be a winning team?
I think just the first time getting in the gym and just being around the guys and playing with them and sharing the locker room with them. It was great energy from the start, and we were always competing in practice. So I think just from the jump that we always knew that we.
Is the energy a lot different than it was a year ago?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Who's been responsible for that?
I think everybody's played a great part in just contributing their own energy, and then everybody feeding off that.
Nate, when you just look at this roster, it's a total rebuild from last year. You're one of the guys who was around last year to this year and everything. Was there ever a part of you that was like, maybe I don't have a spot on this team? Did you feel like you had to prove something really coming into this year to show that, hey, no, I still do deserve minutes?
Yeah, I try to just take that approach every practice, just try to give my best and give my best effort because we're a good team. I always want to prove myself and, just continue to fight to to be a good player on a good team. So.
What's it mean to you that your coach is trusting you to get minutes on the road against Duke,
Mhm.
in tight games against Georgia Tech and ACC competition? He's calling your number.
Mhm.
What's that mean to you?
Oh, that means a lot. It means that the hard work and effort that I'm putting in is showing, and that I'm trying to I should go out there and take advantage of those opportunities. So it's just great seeing positive feedback basically. So.
Nick, Jeff told us that like one of the big things that helped you guys over the past month or so is when you guys would start playing more 5-on-5 in practice and play at a full speed because injuries and everything else. Have you seen yourself figure out more things about your game and how you fit with your teammates from those practices and what are those things?
Yeah, definitely. I would just say like getting to my spots and then just being on the court with those guys playing 5-on-5, seeing where I fit in, seeing what they like to do, and then just trying to implement myself with them. So I think it's been a great help just to play 5-on-5 with them. So.
Nate, what's it been like being a younger guy with so many experienced players in that room, and what have you learned from them?
It's been a great help because this is my second year, so obviously I'm learning a lot from these guys who are vets. So it's helped me, when Coach has called my number, to use that knowledge that they've shared to be more prepared.
How different is it compared to last year to have that much veteran experience? I mean, your four guards who all play, they played in over 500 games in their career. I mean, how great is it to have that experience compared to what you didn't have in year one?
It's great, especially when we hit like adversity and things like that. Just that experience, it's something to fall back on, and with that experience, there's great leaders on this team. So when adversity hits and stuff like that, we're able to bounce back. So it's great to have.
What did some of those leaders have to say after you guys lost Clemson, a couple close games to Clemson and Duke? What did they say to sort of get you ready for the next game?
Just continue to put in the work and keep our heads high. Just take one game at a time, and just try to compete and win.
We asked Nelly about you and how you're improving. He brought up your chase down block and how you kind of came from behind, and that was a big play, energized your team. When you are able to deliver those moments, what goes into making things like that happen so that you're kind of that spark plug that can bring those type of things?
I just think bringing energy and effort, on every play, and hoping to make plays like that. So.
We've seen Nike. Okay.
Going into last year, you had an injury and then the COVID stuff kind of threw off your high school career a little bit. Does it feel like you have your feet under you a little bit more now that you've been able to play for a year?
Yeah, definitely. I think just also while adjusting to college basketball, that year has been great and just getting my feet under me.
We've seen Nike score quite a bit more often these last few games, and how do you and him feed off of each other, coming off the bench together and playing some minutes together?
I think we kind of share a mindset of trying to coming in and contribute to the win and contribute to the team. So I think when we come in, we have that same mindset of okay, let's bring some energy, let's bring a spark, so we can help our team win.
Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, when I watched your high school team, you were a heck of a shooter coming up. You haven't exactly been able to get your shooting together, but you're still finding ways to contribute. Has that, when you're not able to hit a shot, has that kind of changed your approach or like changed your mindset sometimes? Like, dang, I got to do this or do that, or are you kind of just pushing through way and knowing that that's going to come eventually?
Definitely just trying to continue to work through it. Stay confident that I can hit those shots, but also I want to contribute in other ways. So I think just my shot being a little off, I gotta either rebound more or play better defense. So just continue to try to contribute to the game.
Last year, I mean, you guys weren't playing in a lot of high-interest games for anyone outside of maybe your program. This year, I mean, you're playing on ESPN a little bit more. The country's really tuning in to see what Pitt has to offer. How fun is that for you in year two after going through the tough year that you went last year in your first season to be a part of this, the resurgence really for Pitt basketball?
It's been awesome because that off-season work that you're sitting there in the gym, you're putting in work. This is like the thing that you hope for. Where we can get this team to. So to see it kind of pay off a little bit, it's great to see.
There's been games, obviously, recently when your minutes have increased, but there have been games this season where you didn't play, you didn't come in. How do you stay ready, coming off the bench in these recent games?
I just, think continuing to cheer for my teammates, even if I'm not playing, or just continue to be ready, continue to play and practice, give effort. You know, the little things, the little details that a lot of people don't really see, but can contribute to help being ready. So.
Nate, to Chris's question earlier, I think it was a couple weeks ago, Jeff had told us that you're scoring a lot in practice, it's just not translating. How close do you think that is, and what are you working on to get it to translate into a game setting?
I think all these other details that I'm trying to contribute to the game. I think that's helping me build my momentum. So I'm hoping that adds to putting it into the bucket a little bit more.
You had that one shot a couple games ago where you hit it at the buzzer. Is that part of it? Like you didn't overthink it? It's just like, hey, I got to get this shot.
Yeah, I just shot it like I normally would in practice. So that's where it felt good, and obviously it went in. So.
Who are you closest to on the team?
I would say the twins, Fede, Blake, but I'm close with everybody. Everybody, we have a great culture in the locker room, so everybody loves to joke and play around with each other. It's really fun.
Who brings the most energy on the bench on a game day?
Man, it's got to be like Fish or KJ, just because they're always rooting and always bringing that great energy. But everybody, as you see. Everybody's always up and clapping and rooting for each other. So
those two guys you mentioned, I mean, they're like the last two off the bench typically, if they ever get in. How uplifting is it to see them bring that type of energy and enthusiasm each game when they know they're probably not going to get to play?
Yeah, it's great because you always have guys who are trying to continue to give you confidence and good energy. So when things do go bad in games or just dip a little bit, you have those guys to continue to encourage.
Like an extra sort of like camaraderie or like friendship and brotherhood with the younger guys at times, like you, Fetty, and the twins. Other times when you guys look at each other and say, "Hey, this is what we got to do." When you got the vets who played 500 games.
Yeah, definitely. We kind of try to talk to each other and just help each other out. Like, hey, like you got to do this, or we kind of talk to each other to see where we're lacking or we can get better at. So we can come in and help the team.
He's kind of a quiet guy with us a lot of times. Is he the same way around you guys?
Nah, he's a little bit more comfortable. I think once he gets more acclimated, that he'll definitely be more talkative.
If you guys maybe take a little bit more responsibility upon your shoulders, because there's 3 guys who aren't going to be playing this year. You thought were going to be playing back in September.
Yeah. Just I gotta take advantage of the opportunity. Just continue to be ready, and just give my all every time. Because those guys are out, so gotta use this opportunity to try to just play my best and help play winning basketball.